Okay, so part 3.
Yes.
As we said, we wanted to get a little bit of information, or we're going to ask intriguing, deep questions sometimes to people who come and join us at this table. And I'm excited about that.
Yeah. Well, we sort of talked about that, the idea of ideology, changing your mind to debate. Yeah. We talked a bit about our pasts, how we were friends.
And if we've got 3 or 4 people sitting at the table and we throw out an opinion about one of these things and someone's got something to say about it, sparking those kind of conversations is exactly what this is about. The opportunity to sit here and talk about things that you wouldn't necessarily feel comfortable raising in a pub or on a night out. You're not going to talk about your opinions on alternate universes and stuff or whatever it might be, or aliens, or because people will think that you're crazy.
Not that aliens aren't necessarily true, but in whatever the circumstance might be.
We'll get into that another day because we don't use all our best content today.
Yeah, and then we move on to my favourite bit, the silly games. The silliness.
We need to think what that's going to be. Yeah. I think 2 truths and 1 lie.
And I think this is the moment when you stick a game in, you start making silly little
have a little
things.
Bit of fun. And it's I'm quite surprised that we've been doing this now for 45 minutes.
Oh, easy.
How there's only 2 of us as well.
Yeah.
And how quickly that time
flies.
Because I was worried that it wouldn't necessarily flow, but
it's quite nice that, because obviously we want to be in most of them, get them all together. I mean, you're going to be in every single one, but I mean, I would like to be this co-host element that we can now get our little bit out, so that people go, oh, this is what these guys are about. And then we can now focus on guests and playing tricks. I mean, being really nice to them and asking them. So
sort of some of the things that I think as questions we will share and discuss are things like when you are 75, 80 years old and you sit down in a rocking chair outside the front of your house and you close your eyes and consider what your life has been, what would you consider a success? Things like that, where it's like, and you have a guest who will have to sit and consider that and go, right, what do I like? What, because, again, I'm a firm believer you only get one shot at, your life is a one go and it's one and out, and how you use that time is very clinical, I think. So, to sort of sit and think about what that might be at the age of 75, 80 years old, for me, it's always been that I just want to be able to create a very luxurious and successful life for my children. That's a major thing for me, and that I want to be able to, as a family, go on nice trips and good holidays and create memories and spend time together. I don't want to be a dad who works 80 hours a week because you don't then get to spend any time with your kids, and I want to be successful enough that I can watch my kids grow up. Which is why I started the social media business, and we'll take that at a slow pace, and if it develops into something that means I can be self-employed, which means I can work when I want, which means I can watch my kids grow up, even better. But just to ask people those questions to sort of get a feel for who they really are on a deeper level would be interesting, I think.
I just want to be able to get fucking Wi-Fi everywhere I go. That's where I want to be.
You have very low ambitions for your life. I'm concerned about you. Do you drink black tea with no sugar as well?
No.
Maybe we should bring your dad on and talk to him a little.
No, he's a lot deeper and well thought than I am.
Right. Okay.
No, there's nothing worse though, is there, when you've got your phones, nothing, no signal, no data, no Wi-Fi. I mean, I know we're talking about deep and meaningful things, but for me, that's pretty deep and meaningful.
It's really fucking annoying, isn't it? Like the office that I've just finished working in, the Wi-Fi drops off every 15 minutes, and it's infuriating to say the least.
I'd shoot everyone in there. In the end, I'd come in there and be like, nope, it's not good enough for me. You're all going to have to die now because the Wi-Fi doesn't work.
But that's probably a good segue to talk about what we're afraid of.
Yeah.
When you're talking about shooting everybody in
You know what
office.
I'm terrified of?
Okay, go.
Is one's a bit darker, which is to talk about the idea that, because I talked to you, there was a friend of mine started showing me these horrendous videos.
Yes.
So we've all got that one friend or someone who shows you these videos.
Adam.
Who you think, how is that on there?
How did this exist?
Yeah, and you think there's some really horrific stuff. I won't go into it. But there's one where, a guy, like suicide. To be able to be in a situation mindset where I'm like, I'm just going to end it now. That's really upsetting, and that terrifies me that I'd never want to get to that stage. Yeah. And I feel so sorry for anyone in that situation.
Who feels alone enough that is the only way out. Yeah.
Yeah. And also my other fear is getting stabbed. That is a terrifying fear of mine.
Okay.
I almost got stabbed, but that was another thing, and I just shouted at
Well, you live in Southend. I'm pretty sure 95% of people in Southend have nearly been stabbed. I think.
But I just that was a real fear. It's like the idea of just the knife just going, That for me is like.
If it's a sharper blade, though, you'd feel it less, right?
This is a thick conversation that I had before. So apparently, if it's a sharp blade, you don't realise you've been stabbed until afterwards, and you go, "Oh,
that hurts."
Yeah, and then my theory was, well, I'd rather get stabbed with a blunt blade because
at least
I know.
Aware of it.
But then my mates were like, "I think you'd know pretty quick. It's not like you're gonna be at McDonald's later and being like
4 hours later."
Oh.
And I'm out.
That's not good.
Yeah. So somebody else lets you know.
Yeah,
you've been stabbed.
Exactly. And then when your adrenaline pumps down, you go, there's holes in me now which weren't there before.
That's a lot of blood.
That's a fear. A fear. But then that's why I think we should all be allowed to carry guns.
So is that your worst? Like, so to be in a situation where you end up getting stabbed,
yes,
or being held?
No, just being stabbed. That's right. Enough.
Is that your worst kind of deepest fear?
Being alone. I have a lot of fears. Right. I'm a fearful man.
So for me, the worst thing possible for me would be to be stranded in open water.
Okay, that's scary.
Because
so you're looking around. And you can't see anything.
And if I really close my mind off and think about it, you know, when you're floating in a swimming pool, I can convince myself that I'm in that situation and I'll panic and just get out of the pool but to be in a situation where, have you seen The Life of Pi?
No, I've not.
Right, so basically stranded in the ocean.
Yeah.
Anyway, but to be in that situation where all you've got is he's got a very small...
I wouldn't have thought that this would have been have you seen Life of Pi? Great film. Nothing to do with what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
but
it's a great film, by the way.
Awesome film. Yeah.
It has nothing to do with what... How did you not seen it?
I've seen the trailers, mate. I'm not a hermit.
Not a total recluse.
Yeah, I understand the concept. So it's like, have you ever seen...
I don't live under a bridge.
Yeah. Have you seen Saving Private Ryan? Oh, well, it was about fairies in the garden. No, I know it's about people getting shot on the beach on D-Day. I have seen that film, to be fair. But
it's a good film.
Yeah,
anyway, so... because you'll never catch me jumping off a boat in the ocean or anything like that. But I just think, like, if you look at the sky, you know what's in the sky because you can see it. No? So you've got birds and like we can say to
I know what you yes.
So we can say to a certain degree of certainty that there is no dragons flying around. Close by.
Big birds of prey that could eat a human.
Yes, like any undiscovered species. Whereas with the ocean, we're not so sure. And there are fish flying around, swimming around with, like that light bulby thing. You seen that?
They're not piranhas, are they?
There's one in Finding Nemo. I know that much.
Yeah.
Scary stuff.
At that point.
Yeah, scary stuff.
Nope.
But just everything in the ocean looks like it wants to hurt you.
Oh yeah, they do.
Like. There's nothing. No. There's no friendly things in the ocean. Like even a jellyfish, which is such a polite, like airy sort of puff of air.
Fuck off.
Yeah, just wants to stab you and poison you.
Sting. It's
just like you've got.
But I'm a carrier bag.
You've got crocodiles. You've got jellyfish. You've got sharks and whales.
I think we should put more plastic in the ocean. Get rid of them all. That's not true. I don't believe in that. Not putting nothing. No, genuinely no.
No,
that's awful.
It's terrible.
That was a bad joke.
But it's there are
all
some,
the comments. Oh my god, the chubby ones are horrible. He hates turtles.
There's some evil stuff.
There is some evil stuff
down there, isn't there?
There's some nasty things. There's some videos of like these Russian sailors and the fishermen pulling things out of the water which don't look anything that should belong in this world. And then you're like, I'm pretty sure there's aliens or something.
Do you want to float me around in open water so that they have like?
So you don't want to go on our drinking riverboat trip?
No. So it's like if you push me in the water, that'd be my worst. I'd never speak to you ever again.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, because it's like multiple choice as to what kills me, what's going to get to me first.
I think also as well, you think. I'm picturing your idea of the open ocean to be crammed, like so. It's just like you could just see a bit of water, but underneath it's just fish like that, just
sharks,
eating each other, fighting, chaos.
It's a bloodbath.
There's a lot of water before anything gets near you.
Yeah, I think there are two reasons that I'm slightly traumatized by the ocean. The first, it was the Jaws ride in Florida that I went on as.
How old were you?
9.
Oh, okay.
So, but have you seen that thing?
No.
Right, so it doesn't exist anymore, probably because it's not healthy for children.
We need to stop doing this. No. The kids love it. They love it. They're shaking and they're urinating themselves.
So you'd have like an actor who would front the boat. So he's acting as your guide or whatever. And it's this
mechanical.
It's a mechanical shark. Yeah. Right? And I look back at it now and I'm like, come on, it's not real.
Yeah.
But the effects they put on, and there's like fire and what happens eventually is the shark explodes.
Like it
underwater,
does
like in the film, which I've not seen all the way through because
you're terrified.
Yeah, and the other thing, so I think that because I have a real obsessive fear of sharks to the point where, if you see a video about sharks on the internet, I'll click on it every time because I want to see, but I want to see because I'm terrified.
Then you hope they die. You hope this is a bad story for them.
I hope it's a sad ending. One less shark in the world, And the other is, I had a fish tank as a kid that turned into
a shark in it.
No, but it might as well have been. So basically, we kept, and I can't work this out to this day as to how aquarium people determine the gender of fish. Because they aim to keep them separate, don't they?
Yeah.
So that they can't breed in your tank, right? Well, they obviously had made a mistake at one point, and we ended up with hundreds of babies. But you have to segregate the babies because they just eat each other.
Yeah.
And it's brutal. Okay, so let's move away from fishy stories and my horrendous fear of everything water related. I don't even get in the bath just in case.
Showering is traumatic for me.
It's a struggle. But I've had a very good time. We've sat and talked, and obviously there's only two of us for this one. So
so it was interesting just doing us two because now, people have got a bit of an idea of how ridiculously mad we are. Yeah. And when we get more people, it'll be interesting to have that.
And I think the general idea was just to kind of give people who might want to consider coming to do this with us a feel for what it would be like and what kind of questions we're going to ask, how much we would delve into each other's lives. And basically it's just a chance to share embarrassing stories and things that you care or are interested in.
Or don't care about.
Yeah. At all.
Yeah, just talk from a devil's advocate point of view.
If you want to come on this podcast to talk about politics, however, unfortunately that won't be an option, as I do not give a shit in the slightest.
So there's one rule. There is
one rule, and we will not discuss politics on this podcast.
Good.
Ever. Okay? Ever.
Okay.
But yeah, so we've got a lot of interesting things and a lot of topics we want to talk about. So if you are interested in coming to sit and drink tea or whatever you wish with us, whether that be an alcoholic beverage of any kind, a fine glass of wine, perhaps.
A fine glass of port.
And
some cheese.
Yeah.
I'm just hungry now.
2 to 6 pints of Heineken, potentially.
Yes. So there's actually a really good game, it's not a game. So there's a show which is called Shit-Faced Shakespeare. So during the show, one of the actors has to get horrendously pissed, but it's like in a hat. Okay. So the audience turn up, they see the actor, they're like, oh, that one, and he or she has to get horrendously pissed, like a bottle of Jack Daniels, and then go and do the performance horrendously pissed.
So like Romeo in a.
So Romeo would be like, shall I compare thee to? Like in the middle of a show.
I think I've done that to a woman before.
So we should maybe think about doing
that. Don't drive to come and
use
sit
public
with us
transportation
on a podcast. I wouldn't recommend that.
We could drive here, just not getting back after.
Yeah, just leave your car.
Maybe that's an idea for a game. That might be quite fun. We might not.
Things like that and intriguing questions, embarrassing stories. I've got many that I could share.
Yeah, I've got a few. I've got a few. Some people might have heard, but I'll just rehash all those other ones.
Just go with it.
Some of the people we might bring in might not know what my horrendous life is like.
So we look forward to filling these chairs. We've got a couple more microphones, so it'll be me plus co-host Big Al and 2 guests.
Yes,
1 guest.
We need title now.
Well, you spilt your tea everywhere, so we could go with the Spilt Tea Podcast.
The Spilt Tea,
and then people would be like, "Why is it called that?"
Because Alex couldn't use
his
face.
Funny story. His face stopped working for the first 10 minutes. You're like that. There's a film where the guy's had so much Botox that he goes to drink and just pours it all over himself.
I had a really good time.
It made no difference.
Thank you for bringing me here.
No, we should. Yeah.
Well, it's your podcast, isn't it? So
I am the Graham Norton of this podcast. Yes, that's the
idea.
That's the. No, we said this earlier. You are the Pedro to my Napoleon.
Oh, for God's sake!
The co-host. so to speak, as you won't be able to make every session, but it would be a pleasure to have you as often as possible.
Thank you very much. That's very kind.
But if we're going to use my name, then we could go with like something.
Well, it's Alex Buck, isn't it?
Like a bucking mess, or bucking ridiculous, or
bucking mess,
a bucking joke.
This is a bucking joke.
This is a bucking joke. Or
that's not bad. I like this is a bucking joke.
It's too long though. Like bucking around.
Yeah, it's quick.
That works.
Bucking around's quite good.
That works.
Bucking around's quite good.
Okay, let's not overthink it. Done. I'll hate it in 3 months' time because we haven't thought enough about it, but I've committed to it now. So we'll get a graphic made up, and that will be
Bucking Around.
Yeah, Bucking Around. So if you would like to come and join us on Bucking Around, don't say it together. That made me. I don't know.
What do you mean?
It's a bit cringy, isn't it? When we'll do it like 1, 2, 3, Bucking Around. No, didn't like it.
That was good.
Didn't like it.
1, 2, 3. Bucking Around.
I won't ever say it at the same time as you.
Well, I'll say it then.
Okay, fine. If you would like to come and join us on, then just give us a shout.
Why can't I say it at the same time?
Because it's weird. I don't like it.
What do you mean you don't like it?
Because it's like an American. No, don't like it.
Well, this is like a bit of it's like a marriage. There's a bit of compromise here.
I don't like it.
Right.
If you'd like to join us, then please feel free to send us a message. We would love to have you, and it will be a very good time. Thank you very much. He's stormed off, so I will close it off there. Goodbye now.